The air in Takoradi grew heavy. A city known for its vibrant energy was cloaked in fear. Whispers traveled on the wind. Something was terribly wrong. Young women were disappearing, vanishing without a trace. The bustling streets, once full of life, now echoed with unease. Takoradi, a city on the coast of Ghana, was about to face its darkest hour. The year was 2018. A string of disappearances would soon grip the nation. 3 young women, full of life and dreams, would become forever linked by tragedy. Their names were Priscilla Blessing Bentham, Ruth Love Quayson, and Priscilla Karanchi. Their stories, though different, would share a chillingly similar thread: a taxi ride, a final goodbye, and then silence. Fear began to take root. Parents clutched their daughters a little closer. The streets, once teeming with life, emptied after dark. Takoradi held its breath, bracing for the storm that was to come. Priscilla Blessing Bentham, a vibrant 21-year-old, was the first to disappear. August 17, 2018 marked the day her life, as everyone knew it, ended. She had boarded a taxi after work, a routine journey. She never arrived at her destination. Her family, frantic, reported her missing. The police, however, offered little comfort. They dismissed her disappearance. Just another runaway, they assumed. Months later, tragedy struck again. On December 5, 2018, 19-year-old Ruth Love Quayson vanished. Her story mirrored Priscilla's: a taxi ride, a final phone call, then silence. Fear tightened its grip on Takoradi. The disappearances were too similar to ignore. The third blow came on December 21, 2018. Priscilla Karanchi, just 18 years old, boarded a taxi. She too vanished into thin air. The city of Takoradi was in the throes of terror. 3 young women gone, taken from their families, swallowed by an unknown darkness. Panic set in. The once dismissive authorities were now under immense pressure. The disappearances dominated headlines. The nation demanded answers. The search for the missing women became a race against time, a desperate fight for justice. The initial response from the Ghanaian authorities was slow and inadequate. The disappearances were treated as isolated incidents. The possibility of a connection, a sinister pattern, was initially ignored. Precious time, crucial to any missing person case, was lost. The police, understaffed and ill-equipped, struggled to make headway. Leads ran cold. Witnesses offered little information. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Hope dwindled. The families of the missing women grew increasingly desperate. Their pleas for help, for answers, seemed to fall on deaf ears. The families refused to be silenced. They organized protests. They marched in the streets. They demanded justice for their daughters. Their voices, united in grief and anger, began to resonate throughout the nation. The pressure on the authorities mounted. The Takoradi kidnappings were no longer just a local concern. They had become a national crisis. The investigation finally gained traction in January 2019. A suspect emerged: Samuel Udotuk Wills, a Nigerian national with a history of criminal activity. He was apprehended in connection with the disappearance of Priscilla Blessing Bentham. Initially, he confessed to her kidnapping and murder. A glimmer of hope, however faint, emerged. Wills's confession sent shockwaves through the nation. He claimed to have abducted and killed all 3 women. He even led authorities to what he claimed was their burial site. However, his story soon unraveled. He retracted his confession, claiming it was coerced. The search for the missing women continued, shrouded in even more mystery and despair. Then, in April 2019, a gruesome discovery sent chills down the spines of the nation. Human remains were found, not at Will's initial supposed burial site, but behind his rented apartment. DNA testing confirmed the worst. The remains belonged to the 3 missing women. The hope that had briefly flickered was extinguished. Takoradi was united in grief. The discovery of the remains, while bringing a tragic closure, also ignited a firestorm of controversy. The families of the victims, while relieved to finally have some answers, expressed serious doubts about the handling of the investigation. They accused the police of incompetence, of mishandling evidence, and even of a possible cover-up. Their accusations were not unfounded. Critical evidence, including the remains of the victims, had been mishandled. The initial identification of the remains was riddled with errors, causing immense pain and confusion for the families. The families alleged that crucial evidence had been lost or tampered with. Trust in the authorities, already fragile, eroded further. The families' cries for justice became even louder. They demanded accountability. They demanded answers. They refused to believe that one man, acting alone, could have abducted and murdered 3 young women without raising any suspicion or leaving any trace. Their fight for justice was far from over. It had only just begun. As the investigation progressed, or rather stumbled along, whispers of a larger network involved in the crimes began to circulate. The families of the victims had always maintained that Samuel Udoetuk Wills could not have acted alone. Their suspicions seemed to be gaining traction. Wills himself hinted at the involvement of others. He claimed he was part of a trafficking ring forced to kidnap the women. He alleged that powerful individuals were involved, individuals who operated above the law. These claims, though never substantiated, added another layer of complexity and horror to an already deeply disturbing case. The possibility of a larger network at play, perhaps involved in human trafficking or even ritual killings, sent shockwaves through Ghanaian society. The case, already shrouded in mystery and tragedy, took on an even more sinister tone. The family's fight for justice became a fight against a faceless enemy, a fight to expose the darkness that had enveloped their daughters. Despite the arrest and conviction of Samuel Udoetuk Wills, a sense of unease lingered over Takoradi. The city, once brimming with life, seemed to be holding its breath, haunted by the ghosts of the 3 young women. The case, though officially closed, remained open in the hearts and minds of many. Too many questions remained unanswered. The full extent of Wills's involvement and whether he truly acted alone remained a chilling mystery. The families of the victims continued to demand a deeper investigation. They believed that those who had aided or abetted Wills, or were part of a larger network, were still at large, still a threat to the community. The Takoradi serial killings exposed the underbelly of society, the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface. It highlighted the vulnerability of young women, the failure of the authorities to protect them, and the agonizingly slow grind of justice. The case served as a stark reminder that even in a nation striving for progress, monsters lurk in the shadows waiting to prey on the innocent. In 2021, Samuel Udoetuk Wills was found guilty of kidnapping and murder. He was sentenced to death. The court declared that he would face the full force of the law for his heinous crimes. The verdict, however, brought little solace to the families of the victims. For them, justice felt incomplete, hollow. The families argued that the trial, while necessary, had not uncovered the full truth. They maintained that crucial evidence had been overlooked or mishandled. They believed that individuals in positions of power who may have been involved in the crimes or in a subsequent cover-up had escaped scrutiny. Their fight for full accountability continued. The families' unwavering pursuit of justice, their refusal to be silenced, resonated with many Ghanaians. The Takoradi serial killings became a symbol of the fight against impunity, against the systemic failures that allow such crimes to occur. The case ignited a national conversation about police reform, about the protection of women and girls, about the urgent need for a justice system that truly serves the people. Years have passed since the horrific events that shook Takoradi. The pain of loss, however, has not faded. The families of Priscilla Blessing Bentham, Ruth Love Quaison, and Priscilla Karanchi continue to carry the weight of their grief. They remember their daughters with love and sorrow, their voices echoing in the fight for justice. The memory of the 3 young women lives on, not just in the hearts of their loved ones, but in the collective consciousness of Ghana. Their tragic fate serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of life, the ever-present threat of violence, and the long, arduous path towards justice. Their stories must not be forgotten. They are a call to action, a demand for a safer society, for a justice system that protects the vulnerable, for a future where such tragedies are never repeated. Their legacy lives on in the fight for a better, safer Ghana. The whispers in the wind have not subsided. They carry the unanswered questions, the lingering doubts, the demand for justice. The Takoradi serial killings, though officially closed, remain an open wound in the heart of Ghana. The fight for truth, for accountability, continues. The families of the victims deserve closure. They deserve to know the full truth about what happened to their daughters. They deserve to see all those responsible, not just Samuel Udotuk Wills, held accountable for their actions. Their fight is a fight for all Ghanaians, a fight for a just and equitable society. The Takoradi serial killings must not fade from memory. They must serve as a catalyst for change, for a safer, more just Ghana. Let us honor the memory of Priscilla, Ruth, and Priscilla by demanding better from our leaders, from our justice system, from ourselves. Let us work together to create a society where such tragedies are never repeated. Let us silence the whispers of doubt and fear with the resounding call for truth and justice.